Welcome back, everyone. You've probably seen some of the mysterious videos, unidentified objects appearing to zoom through the sky, defying physics. We're talking, of course, about UFOs, or as the government calls them, unidentified anomalous phenomena. President Trump took office vowing radical transparency across the board, and that has UFO investigators hoping the government will be more forthcoming about any secret information related to potential non-human intelligence and advanced threats. So what do we know right now, and are we any closer to solving hundreds of cases that have captivated public interest and fueled conspiracy theories for years? In tonight's Prime Focus, our Devin Dwyer took those questions to the Pentagon's top UFO investigator.
How will you know when you're looking at something that could be extraterrestrial life or non-human intelligence?
I think it's going to require a lot more than the blurry videos that I have right now.
The videos have fueled our fascination. What many know as UFOs, the government calls unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs.
Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
More than 1,800 reviewed by the Pentagon since 2022. Objects like this one, a sign of life beyond Earth? Or could it be a cutting-edge technology developed by an adversary?
It's a potential problem, a national security problem, a safety of flight issue.
Potential non-human intelligence.
Perhaps.
John Kozlowski is the top U.S. official tasked with investigating UAPs.
You've been solving problems for years in your career. Are these some of the toughest problems you've had to tackle as a scientist?
They are.
Kozlowski leads the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, created by Congress 3 years ago to detect, identify, and attribute mysterious objects of interest in the air, in outer space, and even underwater. Now the office answers to President Trump.
How much of a priority is this work for President Trump and Secretary Hegseth?
No new directives, but lots of support. We seem to have the full support of the administration.
Would you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on there?
So many people ask me that question.
The commander-in-chief has been a UFO skeptic.
It's never been my thing, I have to be honest. I have never been a believer.
But Trump has also hinted that the government may know more than it's letting on.
I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
The president is now vowing unprecedented transparency in his second term, giving UFO enthusiasts across the political spectrum hope for fresh answers about those mysteries. Kozlowski has accelerated the release of intensive investigations, a team of several dozen experts poring over video clips, radar data, eyewitness accounts, and deploying mathematical analyses to determine the most likely explanation for each UAP.
Obviously, that is an interesting anomaly.
One of the most recent resolutions, this object spotted by a U.S. military drone, seeming to fly through the hot exploding ash of Mount Etna as it erupted in 2018. No known technology is capable of flying in those conditions.
And what is it, do we think?
It looks like it's probably a 1-foot wide balloon. Yeah, floating with the wind. Yep.
Like a birthday balloon.
Yeah, could be.
This object, racing across Puerto Rico in 2013, mesmerized investigators for years. Watch as it appears to split into two, then dip into the water before disappearing out of sight.
With very careful analysis of the metadata, taking into account where the camera was pointing, we were able to assess that this is actually an object that is flying just a few hundred feet above the ground and is maintaining a flight path consistent with the wind over the airport the whole time.
So it doesn't actually dip into the water, it's a mirage.
Exactly, yep. It's just an artifact of the sensor.
Most of the cases are readily explainable, Kozlowski says. Large birds, balloons, debris, or drones.
Is your goal to resolve every case that comes in?
So our hope is to be able to triage them, identify those that have the best scientific data, the nexus with national security interests, and the true anomalies behind them, and focus our attention on those really anomalous cases.
How many ballpark are in that category right now?
It's several dozen, but it's a couple % of the overall.
One unexplained anomaly is the so-called Tic Tac incident of 2004.
Really no idea what that might be.
Navy F-18 pilot David Fravor spotted the object off the California coast, seeming to move at impossible speeds. He spoke with ABC News in 2017.
We're in a clockwise flow, going from 12 to 3, and it starts going from 6 to 9. And it's coming up, and we're going down. We start to cut across. It rapidly accelerates, climbs past our altitude, and disappears. That's the last we saw of it.
Any progress?
Not much. There's not a lot of scientific data available.
Is there a procedure for making it public if you think you've actually found it? Non-human intelligence?
So there's no precedence for that, obviously, but I think that we would take that up through the Secretary of Defense and allow him to make that decision.
Critics of the Pentagon effort say it has been hobbled by staffing shortfalls, bogged down by bureaucratic confusion, and mired in excessive secrecy. Whistleblowers testifying before Congress have claimed the government is still hiding evidence of non-human intelligence.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
Lawmakers from both parties have proposed legislation to force federal agencies to disclose more information, but Congress has yet to pass it.
When you have only certain information that's shared with the American people, that's when conspiracy theories happen. And it's in my opinion that conspiracy theories can be detrimental.
The issue is when we mix secrecy with a stigma, and that we create such a stigma around a phenomenon that it becomes difficult, if not impossible, for agencies, for academics, for people to look at the issue seriously.
Mike Gold is a former associate NASA administrator who served on the agency's UAP independent study team. He's now part of a group of scientific and national security experts pushing for greater transparency.
I have high hopes for this administration, not only because of what the president said, but Tulsi Gabbard, our DNI, explicitly mentioned UAP in her congressional hearing. That helps push back against the stigma.
Should the president, with the stroke of his pen, do what he did with the JFK files and declassify anything related to UAP?
I would applaud an executive order to declassify information relative to UAP.
Gold says he's been urging Congress to support more aggressive analysis of troves of existing government data.
If we study UAP, not only can we help with national security, and even if we don't discover something exotic, what's the worst case scenario? We discover an incredible new physical phenomena?
Last year, the Pentagon completed a historic review of 80 years of records related to unidentified anomalous phenomena and concluded there is no evidence that any U.S. government investigation, academic-sponsored research, or official review panel has confirmed that any sighting of a UAP represented extraterrestrial technology.
You confident in that?
Yeah, that stands true.
Can you say categorically that there is no intact spacecraft or part of a spacecraft that the U.S. government is holding?
I have not been able to corroborate any of those claims.
Is it possible there's a secret program here that you just don't know about?
Anything's possible.
Keeping an open mind and an open door as the Pentagon team investigating unidentified anomalous phenomena faces growing calls for answers.
So many eager to know. Our thanks to Devin Dwyer for that.